I always reflect on how I began to compose, and on this album my music goes back to 1980, which is actually quite a long time ago now. But I'd actually begun the process of composing a couple of decades before that, actually, totally as a hobby. And the main thing was a compelling enjoyment of hearing certain harmonies, sitting at the piano, working out what I really loved in terms of sound and combinations of notes, and then writing for people. That was a great boon, so that the musician you were writing for could actually play the piece. I remember actually about 50 years ago now, being in the summer course of the Glasgow Schools Orchestra, and the chance arose for a final course student concert. So I wrote a special piece for that, for cello and piano, and I was thrilled to actually hear it being played. To sit back and hear your music was a great boon. So I would recommend for anyone who's starting out composing to write for your musical friends, to actually then sit back and actually enjoy what you've created, to get their advice as well. I set about in 1976 to write a prelude for every instrument. It was my way of learning about every instrument, and I wrote them when I met up with a musician who I felt needed a piece. So I asked them about the characteristics of the instrument and tried to capture what I say is the idiomatic soul in short pieces of that instrument. So up to date, since that time, I've written 24 preludes for solo instruments, learning about each instrument on the way. To actually feel the thrill of an orchestra, to go and listen to the combination of notes and harmonies. Listening to live music is a great experience. And the other thing is to look at the 20th century in terms of the plethora of styles. You go back to Marcel Duchamp, that inspired John Cage to be a surrealist or a Dada art influence, and you ask yourself what happened to that type of art, what happened to surrealism, expressionism, serialism, and all the rest of it. The old style, the old reliable style of classical and Baroque music broke apart in the late 19th century and the 20th century, so maybe it's our responsibility to put it all together again. Musical language shattered into many different, mutually unintelligible languages quite often, and perhaps even lost contact with its audience. Maybe we have a responsibility to rediscover the language of music.